Thank you, everybody, for joining us back here at TekCapital's channel. We have a very special interview for you guys today as we sit here with the Chief Executive Officer of Microsalt Incorporated, one of the incredibly promising and socially responsible companies in TekCapital's portfolio, Mr. Rick Guiney. Rick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing very well myself. And before we dive into Microsalt, I want to know a bit more about yourself, Rick. So tell me how you wound up in this position and what really makes you tick as a businessman and entrepreneur.
Well, I spent 30 years in the food business in both big companies and small companies, Procter & Gamble, Anheuser-Busch, and several small companies, one of which was my own, for over 20 years. So I have a wide array of experience in the food business, building companies, keeping companies, working through new item introductions. And when I met TekCapital, it really hit home with me that I get a chance to do something that's good for somebody else. You know, you don't want to feel like you're just selling something just to sell it. You want to sell something and develop a company that does good, that has a good purpose. And that's what really, really grabbed me with Microsalt and TekCapital. They were out to have their mission and their vision is something that I could be proud of. I could go home to my kids and say, hey, I might have saved someone's life today. And they smile and say, yeah, sure, Dad. But no, I said, seriously, we lowered sodium for a whole bunch of people today. And it's really a source of internal pride for me.
Yeah, for sure. It makes it a lot easier to sell what you're selling when you believe in it. That's one of the core tenets of actually trying to get people to believe something is if you yourself are on board with that idea as well. So then now walk me through that side of it. I mean, you've been the chief executive officer for coming up on a year now. How has that been and what does that look like?
Well, you know, it's been a lot of work, but it's every minute of it's been fun. We have an incredibly strong team. I was blessed with I inherited a very strong team. And they're all committed and all highly experienced individuals. And they all believe the same vision I do, that it's more important to sell something with meaning than it is just to sell something. So, you know, perhaps the low sodium message doesn't ring true with everybody just yet. We don't get discouraged. We build on it. And every day for us, the low sodium message becomes stronger, not only in the US, but across the world. Because you know the sodium intake is a real problem. It's not a fake marketing issue that you see companies make up in advertising. It's a real deal. And when you sit and you talk one-on-one with people or doctors or nutritionists or dietitians, they're 100% behind it. So we're really excited about our runway. We have a huge library of experience now. We've run a number of tests with a number of different manufacturers, starting with a 5-pound bench test, all the way up to a 4,000 pound continuous run of almonds and cashews. So we have a great deal of experience that Microsalt does indeed work.
Yeah.
It works in the processing end of things, and it works on the dietitian end of things, where it does really deliver low sodium at full flavor.
Yeah, and fair enough. You know, obviously sodium is a real problem right now, and I think you are correct. And more people are becoming aware of it, that the average diet, especially in America, is currently chock full of sodium, and that definitely needs to change because it is having some adverse effects on people's health and blood pressure and so on. So from there, can you give me the basic elevator pitch in the business model of Microsalt for those not yet aware?
Well, we specialize in the development of food technology that delivers low sodium across different channels. Microsalt is our #1 product, and it is a patented process where we reduce the size of the sodium crystal. Basically, Michael, it's like a beach ball versus a baseball. You know, you could get hit with a beach ball 5, 6, 7 times and not be bothered. You get hit once with a baseball and you're done. And it's the same thing. Yeah, our salt is so much smaller and so much more intense that you end up ingesting a lot less. So you're still ingesting real salt. Our Microsalt is real salt, but it's much more powerful, much more intense. So you don't ingest all the extra. You get what you want to taste, and then you're done. And it's really a magical process. It allows us to do different things. We could flavor it. We can make it different colors. We could do almost anything we want with it. So it has a wide array of possibilities. And you know, the sodium issue, as you mentioned, it's not just the US, not just North America, it's everywhere. It's a huge issue in Asia. It's a huge issue in Western Europe. It's a huge issue everywhere. People seeking ways to lower sodium. But we all have to realize that no matter what the product is, if it tastes bad, it's not going to work. You
Right.
know, the world is full of companies that had great aspirations, but their food tasted bad, and they mistakenly thought that that'll be okay. Well, it's not okay,
Mm-mm.
and we can stand here and look the manufacturers in the eye and say your stuff is going to taste great. And 201, when we get to the testing stage, they 100% agree. So we have a crazy amount of runway, both in North America and in the rest of the world for retail applications that put Microsalt in their pantries, in addition to all the foods that they buy that can now be made with Microsalt. Cookies, crackers, snacks, soups, you name it, we can do it.
Yeah, it is really interesting how elegant the solution you guys have kind of came to is, and just essentially just breaking the salt down so it's smaller so you taste it better. I like the whole beach ball baseball analogy there,
Yeah.
and so kind of going from there. Then talk to me more about the rest of the team on board and who's helping captain the ship, and so to speak, and the real tie in with TekCapital. Like, how are they helping steer the way as well?
Well, TekCapital hired me, and I'm grateful for that because they gave me an opportunity to do what makes my heart feel good, which is to steer a company that has a good vision. The team again has a number of strong people. We work hand in hand with TekCapital, especially their CFO. We have a vice president of sales. We have a vice president of marketing. We have a vice president of supply chain, and we have a vice president of international business development. And those four people, in addition to myself, are driving the company. Now we are new, so it's a little simplified just yet because we're focused on the top line. We're focused on placements. We're focused on testing at the manufacturing level because we know that once that happens, the sales will come through. We did, as proof of concept, create our own line of potato chips called Salt Me Chips,
Mhm.
and they came out so strong that Kroger decided to bring them into all their stores.
Wow.
So we went from testing proof of concept to being a legitimate supplier to the retail chains. And so it's a very strong sentence of support when you can create your own line of potato chips and have them taste so good that one of the major retailers in the country decides to bring them in,
Yeah.
which means on the downside that somebody else got kicked out. And that's because we offer low sodium at the full flavor. We're coming behind that, Michael, with a line of retail shakers designed for Mr. and Mrs. Consumers. So when they buy salt, they have a choice. There hasn't been any innovation in the salt category for almost 15 years. And now we're coming in with a true salt substitute, a sodium substitute. Our plan's called to reach out to the medical community, to provide samples to the dietitians and nutritionists and doctors. And they're going to be able to say, here, rather than just saying, you need to lower your sodium, don't eat so much pizza. They're going to be able to say, here, use this. It's available in retailers, it's available on Amazon, it's available on e-commerce. We're really excited that we're actually going to be able to start knocking on people's doors. In addition to, of course, the manufacturing end of it.
Yeah, it is really interesting. In this scenario you guys have set up, it's almost like people can have their cake and eat it too. As you said, we have to work with human nature in this regard. People will choose flavor almost
Every
99%
time.
of the time. Exactly. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's you work with what you got, and you kind of reverse engineer from there, from the user experience, so to speak, if you wanted to go with the Apple Steve Jobs philosophy. So I like that a lot, Rick. So I guess 2023, what does it hold for you guys?
2023, we're really excited about 2023. We're coming out of 2022, and this year has been a lot of testing, a lot of consumer outreach. And as we end the year, we're ending the year with three great sales events, where we can stand in front of people, and we have 10 planned for next year. So we're really going to be all over the place. And every day goes by, sodium becomes more of a conversation. And that's not an exaggeration. We hear from people every day looking for ways to lower sodium. We're actually working with several universities in addition to help their students develop their culinary programs, develop ways to create food without so much sodium. But again, it's got to taste really good. That's the whole thing. Don't make it if it's going to taste bad. let's just stop now. And luckily for us, we can say, you can close your eyes and you can't tell the difference. And we've been through some testing with some people that didn't believe, and that they're believers now. So we're really excited about 2023. We're expecting significant inroads with our shakers, the retail shakers that were launched in October.
Mhm.
And we're expecting continued success for SaltMe, and our bulk business, which is the end of it that it goes to manufacturers, is receiving nothing but accolades. And how do I get this to work? And we're lucky in that we have the technology and the knowledge to go to a manufacturer and say, okay, look, adjust your machine X, and it works.
Mhm.
Turn the application knob to point Y, and it works. We know these things already. So application and execution of our innovation is relatively easy.
Yeah, it really sounds like 2023 is going to be a year of now evangelizing the message of Microsalt out there and getting people on board, which, as you said, should not be hard once you actually get it into their hands or into their mouths, so to speak. So, Rick, thank you so much for coming on. It was great getting to know you and hear about Microsalt's story a little bit. And if anyone has any questions, don't be afraid to direct them to us. But for now, Rick, any closing words before we go?
Well, just thank you, Michael, for giving us your time. And we're all really excited about Microsalt, and we hope everybody else is too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, Rick, and please have a wonderful day.
Thank you.